So I am back, and this is the next part of the study guide. Now it says do not reproduce, but I'm writing over questions, numbers, answer choices. So I'm just going to dive right in. So question 11, and keep in mind, I want you to realize that I wrote something different because if you can see here, I scratched out there, and so instead of being whatever the number it was, we're going to use 30. So it says a snail can travel 1 meter in 1 hour. How many centimeters? So again, we're seeing some keywords here. How many centimeters does a snail travel in 30 hours? So a keyword meters, even though they got hour, and then centimeters. Since we see two different units, we know this is dealing with King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. Whereas kilo, hecto, deca, unit, deci, centi, and milli. 8 p.m. Now, if I look again, and even though we know there's more abbreviations, the main thing here is just doing your jumps. That's the strategy here. We know King Henry and jumps. And so they already have 30 hours, so we're going to write that here. And let's see how many extra zeros do we need at the end, because they want to know how many. And we're going from a big to small because we're going from meters to centimeters. So since we're going this way, that is big to small. So let's do our jumps. 1, 2. So I know I need 2 extra zeros at the end. Now in your homework, this will not be the right answer choice again because I changed something up. So just giving you a heads up. But however many jumps, that's however many zeros we stick at the end when we use King Henry if we're making the number smaller, because it's really saying 30 times 100 because we did 2 jumps. So that's all it's saying. Now for this question, and again I changed the fraction up. So this, I don't even know if we're going to be able to use these answer choices because I changed up Jaden's amount. So it says Jaden and Lexi each use colored sand to create a piece of art. Jaden uses 8/10 of a pound of green sand, and Lexi uses 4/10 pound of green sand. How much more green sand does Jaden use than Lexi? So when you see the word how much more, that means we are subtracting. And this is very, very simple. And the answer, 8, the denominator is going to stay the same. Again, it has to be a like. And these are like fractions. And then we just do our numerators, and 8 minus 4 is 10. Now again, please do not just say it's 8 when you do your homework, because again, I scratched out the original fraction and changed it up so I can still use the answer choices. Now, let's keep reading for part B. Jaden also uses 2 and 2/10 pounds of red sand. How many pounds of green and red sand does Jaden use? And when you see the word and, that means they want to put the whole thing, combine it. So let's see. And we already know he used 8/10. Now, again, there is no whole, so I can't put a whole right here. And we have to use whole to whole, fraction to fraction. There is no whole, so this 2, all I got to do is bring it down. Now, I just do 8, 2 plus 8, which is going to be 10. The denominator stays the same. And this is the same as saying 2 plus a whole, because 10 divided by 10 is really equal to 1. So the answer is actually equal to 3. So now for question 14, and let me write the standard. I don't know why I forgot that. This is King Henry, which is 4.MD.1. And this is adding and subtracting fractions, which is 4.NF.3. So both of these adding and subtracting, you can just YouTube this, and there are more videos that you can watch. All right, let's read this. There are 1,482 people taking part in a scientific study. The people are separated into 3 equal groups. How many people are in each group? Now, again, I scratched out answer choices because I decided to divide by different numbers so I won't copy verbatim what's going on. So, I see the word split, separated into groups. That's a key word for division. Now there are two ways you can do this. Again, you can use the area model way, or you can use the standard way. So you can use divide, multiply, and subtract, bring it on down, and then you just start over. So I'm going to show you the area model way first. And I know it is divisible by 3 because the sum of the digits can be divisible by 3. Because if I said 1 plus 4, that's 5, plus 8, which makes 13, plus 2, which makes 15, which means that 15 can be divided by 3. 3 can fit in this perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and use the area model. I'm going to say 3. Now, I know 3 can actually fit in this at least 1,200 times. Now, what would go here, that's the question. So if I pull 1,200 out of this, I need to see what would go in the other boxes. And I'll just say 240 because the reason why I'm choosing this, I'm looking at 24, I'm looking at 12, and I know 3 can fit in those easily, so I'm just sticking the extra zeros on the end because it won't really make that much of a difference. And so every time you pull out, you still need to make sure you fit the whole number in there. So the last number should be 42, but I could actually make that smaller because I can fit 30 and 12. You see, if I break it up, I can subtract 30 because I know 3 can fit into 30 super easy, and then I would have 12 left over. So do you see how if you use the area model, you're going to have to subtract out to make sure all your numbers are accounted for, because it still has to add up to being 1,482 because that's what you're dividing by. Now, I'll say how many times can 3 fit, and I'm just fitting the base numbers, and the zeros just go at the end. How many times can 3 fit into 12? And the answer is 4. And I have 2 extra zeros, and I stick those at the end. How many times can 3 fit into 24? And the answer is 8, and I stick that extra 0 at the end. How many times can 3 fit into 3? 1, and I stick that extra 0 at the end. And again, 3 can fit into 12 4 times. The last step of any area model, whether you're multiplying or dividing, is addition. So I'm going to add up 400 plus 80 plus 10 plus 4. The answer is 494. Now, if you say, Miss King, that's a lot, I don't want to do that way. Well, you can use the long division way. And I'll say 3 can fit into 14 how many times, and the answer is 4. And 3 times 4 is 12. And then I'll subtract the 8, I bring it down. 3 could get close to 28 9 times. And 3 times 9 is 27. Subtract, that's a 1. And a 2, I bring it down. So you would still get the same answer of 494. The only thing is, number 1, you have to remember to put your answer up top. And also, to me, the area model way might be a little easier because once you break it up, all you're doing is adding up the lengths, and you got it. Anyways, moving on. Let's see what this question says. The weight of a packaged pasta is... What did I scratch out? I'll just say 5 pounds. Which describes a way to find the weight of the pounds in ounces. Now, this right here, they're saying 5 pounds is equal to blank ounces, right? This sounds like a mixture conversion. And we do have the mixture conversions. Like we have our King Henry Big G, and then you should have written 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. 1 yard is equal to 36 inches. And then we also see we're going from a big to small, which means we multiply Now, that all, what we're going to multiply, that's what the question is. Now, you have to use a metric conversion. And since we're doing ounces and pounds, we know we're going to be multiplying by 16 because there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So where you see add, those are very wrong because it's big to small, multiply all, small to big, divide the pig. There is no addition or subtraction. So you will only multiply, and we have to be multiplying by 16, not 10. So all you need for this kind of question is just knowing your metric conversions and which one to use. Alright, so which two digits could fill in the blank to make the number round to 8,000 when rounded to the nearest hundred? So 5 or more, round up. 4 or less, let it rest. Now when we're rounding to the nearest hundred, that means that 9 that's there is going to have to be able to bump up. Because, or better yet, instead of 8,000, I'll say 800. Because the same rule will apply no matter what. So instead of round to the nearest 100, it's round to the nearest 10. So what number would be in this place? Now here's the rule: 5 or more. You know what, better yet, I'm going to round this thing to 2,000. Now, 5 or more, round up. 4 or less, let it rest. We need this number to round up because that 9 has to be able to affect that 1 and make it be a 2. Now, 5 or more. These will let it rest. We need 5 or more, and there's only 2, which is D and E, because that 5 will make it bump up. That will turn to a 10, which will carry 1. And the 6 will do the exact same thing. Oh, and the standard for these, this is 4.ND.2. Or it might be 4.ND.1. Either way, it's both talking about the same thing. And this is talking about rounding. And I'm writing the standard just in case you want to go on YouTube and look at videos on that. Alright, so this one's talking about, let's see, a rectangle separated into 3 equal pieces with one, let's say 2 now, piece shaded to represent a fraction. Which equation creates a fraction that is equal to the shaded part? So I see here we have a total of 3. 2 are shaded. Our strategy is multiply by a whole fraction, whole fraction, whole fraction. If I look here, I see there's a whole fraction in this answer choice in here, but these do not because those are 2 different numbers. We have to multiply by a whole fraction, and then you multiply straight across. I'm just writing over, changing stuff. Now, in this case, 2 times 2 is 4. But D is saying 2 times 2 is 7. So C would have to be the answer. So almost done with this video. This one's very easy. Which line of symmetry is drawn correctly? And we have a triangle here, which this triangle looks like it only has one line. But here, it's not a mere reflection. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. This is the only one that split it up. Just right. And here, let's just say we have 115 degrees out of 360 shaded. Now, the measurement, let's say V. This whole thing, they've already given us because the total is here. The total of the whole thing is a circle, which is equal to 360 degrees. And they have 115 shaded. So that means the answer of the degrees shaded is what they told you, 115. Now, this one, and what's the standard? I think this is 4.MD. Yep, 0.5. And question 20. A teacher needs to use less than 1/2 of a cup of baking soda for the science experiment. Let's see. Should the teacher use all the baking soda in the red cup or in the green cup? So let's look here. we have our fractions of 4/6 and 6/18. What I'm going to do, I know our answer, we need, it has to be less than 1/2. Not more or equal, but less. So I already know I have to multiply this. There's two ways you can do this. You could make them have the same denominator and go from there. Or you can just cross multiply it. So we're comparing this to 1/2. And on this side, I'm going to go ahead and compare 6/16. Now, if I were to make them have the same denominator, I would make this end up being an equivalent fraction multiplied by 8/8. And the answer would be 8/16. So I'm comparing that. So, or you can use your dump your brain and drag your finger and find that you can make 16 with 1/2 if you make it 8/16. And for this one, you can make this, the 1/2 would be equivalent to 3/6. But, so that's another way to do it. And you would just compare that way and you say, oh, 8 is more. So this is really 1/2. And you would say this will be 3/6. Because you would have to drag in your dump your brain and multiply by 3/3. Now, again, obviously this is greater, but there's another way you can do this. So I'm just going to write 1/2 again. So that's the first way, for make an equivalent fraction. Now another way is this. And obviously 8 is bigger. $12 is less. So that's another way to do it. So I see that 6/16 is actually less than 1/2 and 4/6 is greater. We need a number that is less than. So that means we cannot use 4/6 because it is greater than that. So where I see 4/6 is the answer, they say 4/6, 4/6. Those are wrong because we need to use one that's less. Now we see 6/16 is less than 16 is greater. Well, we already just worked it out, and we can see obviously that 6/16 is actually less and not greater. So our answer is actually C. So you can just multiply it out, cross multiply it. To me, it's the easiest way, but finding a common denominator, you can do that as well. And you can actually just drag your finger to make them have the same. So you would drag this to stop on 6 and see what your numerator is. And again, we would have stopped at 3/6 and saw that 4 is bigger because now they're like fractions. Or here, we could have made this 8/16 and we would have solved. So that's another way. Alright, so I will make an additional video discussing the other problems that are just erased. But I will go ahead and fill this in. Let's see. It says a zookeeper records the weight of an elephant as 11,203 pounds. The zookeeper needs to write the weight of the elephant using the number names of 11,003 pounds. Now, again, for your homework, obviously, I scratched out the numbers. So you will not have the same answer choice. But I used one that the answer choices already had. So, again, 11,203. You said exactly how you see it. 11,023? No. 11,200. 2,300. That's wrong. Very wrong. There's no. 11,230. And I see 203. Now, for this one, and this is 4.MBT.2, which is actually really, really simple. It talks about word form, expanded form, standard form, and it also talks about comparing numbers. Now, which comparison is true? Again, this is talking, this is a decimal. So this is actually 4.7, which is a lot like comparing numbers, but instead it's just in decimal form. So we can see they're saying A is saying these numbers are equal. Obviously they're not equal because 2 is greater. Now, are these equal? The answer is yes. These are exactly equal. This is saying $6.89 is greater than $6.90, which is false. This is saying $9.36 is greater than $9.50, which is also false. Now again, I swapped the stuff for the answer for your answer choice on your homework. So you just use this as a study tool to find the right answer for your homework. Again, I hope this helps. I'll be making other videos as well, especially for the more difficult questions. But yeah, let's push through, get it done. Please message me, like, subscribe, and if you have any questions or concern, please let me know. Thanks for watching.